Hey guys, it's me Chan again. So today's video will be Wushu Lupul edition for 5.2. So this time will be between Chasca, Lyney, Neuvillette, and Zhongli. As usual in here, I will just discuss both positive and negative, the recommendation to pull, the constellation or weapons or something like that. So let's get started. Before I start, I want to apologize. Probably this time Wushu Lupul edition a little bit more simple, especially the editing will be much more simple because pretty busy lately. So I worry even if I delay, I cannot even catch up. So I just apologize if it's mostly simple than usual. So let's start first with the brand new character, which is Chasca. So Chasca in general is relatively a strong main DPS, and mostly the upside of her is that her gameplay is very dead brain, like very straightforward. You only need to press skill and just hold your basic attack, and that's pretty much it. Also, she is good in exploration, not just like traversal, but also good at killing enemy because she is just literally holding one button, so it's very convenient for you to kill the mobs to get materials. So pretty nice. That another thing that I want to mention is that it's pretty nice for Chasca on certain enemy that they mostly attack on the ground. We can almost sure that Chasca will never getting hit, so that's pretty much nice. Chasca is per right now the team that is usually very good for her is usually with Furina and Bandit combination. You can pair either with Auroron or Xiangling for another slot in there, but yeah, usually Furina and Bandit, she will never far from those two. However, there's a couple of downsides regarding Chasca, which is first is that her team itself is quite limited because her limitation that in her kit that you need 3 different at least elements. So at the best, maybe you can compromise by 2, let's say like Xiangling and Bandit, something like that. But at the best, like 3. So because of that, like it's make hard to kind of like have different team commit stuff. Other thing that I want to mention, like she will not far away from Bandit and Furina, so without them, it's kind of make her damage quite go down pretty much high, and yeah, it's quite like unfortunate in there. Another thing is that on certain enemy, using Chasca is rather like feel annoying. One of the example is the Hydro Tulpa in this current Spiral Beast that the enemy can hit on aerial, and Chasca itself, for some reason the resistance interruption is not enough. She will get interrupted and can mess up whole of her DPS. And some of the reason for me, I just retry because if you want to like kind of like continue the rotation, it will feels already awkward, so it feels quite annoying on certain enemy. Another thing is that her movement, because she's really tight with Bandit, she's supposed to be correlated quite agile to go left and right. You cannot move too much because you have to stay on the circle, so that's quite make it her quite limited in terms of movement. But in the end, I still have my recommendation for you pull for Chasca, which is first, if you need a good main DPS and also like branded gameplay that pretty much easy to play, then yeah, I recommend for you to pull Chasca, especially if you have Furina and Bandit. I think it's even make more suitable for you. Second, if you want a character that specializes in exploration, either like killing mobs or like traversal, then yeah, I recommend to pull for Chasca because she is just like pretty much flying here and there, so pretty much nice. So also like killing mobs to get material, feeling nice to use her. Lastly, if you like the character and gameplay, feel free to pull for her. Second character is Lyney. Lyney in general pretty much good main DPS and relatively strong main DPS. He is mostly specialized in Mono Pyro, so that's his specialty. And also I want to mention, compared to other charge attacker like Ganyu, the old one, his feels much better because of course it's relatively brand new character, so it feels more polished. But of course, there's a couple of like downside that I want to mention about him is that if you want to play other than Mono Pyro, there's no much feels difference, and in come to the point, just play Mono Pyro, and tend to be even worse if you want to play, let's say like Vaporize, something like that. So yeah, it kind of makes like you don't have so much variation with him. Another thing I want to mention, using bow in mobile, I think it's a little bit hard compared to other like typical weapon. And I want to say even compared to Tighnari, I think Tighnari is still easier to play on mobile because Lyney, at least you need some combo that you need to do and aim, so it's not as easy if you want to play in mobile in the end compared to Tighnari. Also, the thing I want to mention is that Lyney is not typical character that you just need to do charge attack like Ganyu or Chasca. You need to do some sequence, so you need to do charge attack and you have to get the cat, and then after that, after enough minutes to do skill. If you messed up just panicking tap skill, it will kind of lose DPS. So yeah, it's not really great. I can say if the type of people that kind of really panicking because you need to do sequence. And for my recommendation for you to pull for Lyney is first, if you need a good main DPS, especially if you really like to play Mono Pyro, because not so much character that you can play in Mono Pyro. Lyney is one of the characters that specialize in here, so maybe if you're interested to play Mono Pyro, then yeah, he may be the character that you want to go. Second, of course, this is mostly that contribute the most. If you like her gameplay and the character, feel free to pull for him. The next character is Zhongli. So Zhongli is basically the best shielder in Genshin. So basically, of course, when you are become a shielder too, it's not just you don't receive damage, you also get resistant interruption. So it's very good for the typical player that who is like really like unga bunga, especially mobile player that not really like to dodging. This character is really usually very suitable for you. Other than that, he also have support capability where he can reduce the resistance of both physical and elemental, which is pretty good, not just as a shielder. So yeah, because of his very universal, like shield very strong, so you will have hard time to not die. Also like give you some support, reducing like give you threat. And yeah, because of that, he can pretty much fit in a lot of different type of teams. One of very famous team that he can provide, which is in Hu Tao team. So you can just put like Hu Tao and Zhongli, and after that just put another like Hydro, something like that. Or even like you can put like Neuvillette with Zhongli also can work, so you don't need to carry anymore to getting interrupted. Zhongli also have his crowd control, which is go from the burst itself. Before, this is quite decent for the damage dealing, but since right now like a lot of power creep, his burst is not really so much important to use unless you want to group enemy, and this is still worth quite to use. As for downside for Zhongli, basically not that much because he's relatively universal. But mostly the things that I want to highlight, if you really don't care about his resistant interruption and shield, then you basically can just rely on healer, which is healer we have a lot of different options, which is already like we know like Bennett, even Siloner, I know the latest one. So we have a lot of alternative. If you don't care about like the thicker shield or the stronger shield, then yeah, he's not really that important. Like in my case, yeah, although he's very useful, I really using anymore because like of course I can dodge and I don't really kinda need shield. I find sometimes healer feel much better, especially like Furina team, something like that. So because of that, although he's very universal, it's not necessary that important if you don't find like shield is important and resistant interruption. And maybe some of you highlight like he provides shred, so that means still good, right? Yeah, it's still good, but if you think again, all the other support like healer, they also have some support capability, like Silon and have shred. Bennett can give you buff attack. Even Kirara, if you go C6, it provides elemental damage bonus. So basically his shred is not really the main selling point, mostly it's only his shield. But in the end, I still have my recommendation for you to pull for Zhongli, which is first, if you really have trouble into dodging or you are mostly mobile player, then yeah, pulling Zhongli can be a good quality of life for you if you feel that dodging and playing in mobile is not really comfortable with that. And yeah, I think Zhongli will provide you a lot of huge quality of life. Second, if you really need a very solid resistant interruption and you don't want to bother like just getting interrupted by the enemy, then you can decide to pull for Zhongli. One of the example, if you play let's say like Neuvillette, you just don't want to getting interrupted, then just pull for Zhongli, and so you will never get interrupted, assuming you have of course Neuvillette C0. And third, if you Archon collector, of course, then feel free to pull for him because he is Archon, and of course this is will tie. Also, if you like the character and gameplay, feel free to pull for him. Third thing, if you are maybe looking a character that relatively flexible, that can match with different teams, that quite universal, then yeah, you can consider to pull for Zhongli because he relatively can, at the worst, he can become like sustain that give you survivability, give you resistant interruption, and a little bit like support capability, which is give you threat, which is still pretty much nice, that can match with a lot of different teams. And the last character is Neuvillette. Neuvillette is basically one of the best DPS. Some of people say even the best DPS currently. This is because he's dealing already a lot of damage, and also is that it's very branded to use him. It's very casual friendly. Anyone that uses him probably will not have any trouble to deal with his kit because it's just basically skill, ultimate, whole charge attack. That's basically it. Another thing like regarding his team, he has so much variation that you can put like here and there. Every single reaction can work, like electro charge and then one like vaporize or even just mono hydro. It can works with him. So because of that, it's open a lot of different team. And basically current like new character that they released, let's say buffer like Silonen, Furina, every single stuff that they release, it's beneficial Neuvillette, and it just make him even better and better, which is funny. And recently they buff Electro Charge, right? That's it, directly make Neuvillette even better. And also he doesn't really need healer because he can heal by himself, that's why it's quite ridiculous. And for the weakness or downside, he doesn't have much, but the things I want to highlight about him, maybe when you first choosing him, maybe it's quite annoyed if you don't use shield, you need to adaptation with your range or like your distance between the enemy. Other thing is that sometimes when you press skill and the target didn't hit the enemy, you didn't get the balls, you kinda waste your like charge attack, you cannot perform it, and then you have to do manual charge, which is quite long. That's a little bit annoying when the auto target kinda like not targeting the enemy. So yeah, that's a little bit like annoying. For my recommendation for you to pull for Neuvillette, which is first, if you need a very strong main DPS or even like you want like what is one of the best DPS, then yeah, pull for him because he's one of them. And other things, maybe if you're a casual player, then he's very suitable for you because it's very easy to use. You don't need to think too much. Just put like maybe Neuvillette and Zhongli, then yeah, that's it. You pretty much already save. You don't even need to think about dodge, so and already deal a lot of damage. Third, maybe if you're a new player or you're a player that still struggle to clearing like let's say Spiral Abyss or Endgame, then recommend to pull for him because he will make the game much easier. Also, if you want a character that can match with different type of reaction, different teams, then Neuvillette also one of them. Let's say if you like character and gameplay of him, feel free to pull for Neuvillette. And for the Constellation or signature weapon, let's start first with Chasca. If you ask me, should you choose signature weapon or Constellation, then my answer is that for this time is Constellation, just because his C1 is relatively already pretty good. Basically, in short, like the second bullet can convert into elemental bullet. Usually it's only animal, it can be elemental, and also the chance still the same, 33% like per different elemental, which is already pretty good. This is actually a quite good increase because elemental bullet is stronger than just like animal bullet for Chasca itself. Another thing why I recommend to go for Constellation, because only this patch we can get Auroron, and Auroron pretty good pair if you want to pair with Chasca, especially if you can get like C6, that's even better. So that's why value wise like feels like 2-in-1, just better go with Constellation. However, value wise, if without Auroron they're around the same, like either C1 or signature weapon, it doesn't even matter, both of them is pretty much around the same. It's pretty good. And of course, if you want to go to C2, it's already better than signature weapon. For Lyney, should you pull for early Constellation or signature weapon? It's actually very depend which topping point that you want to go. If you only go for Constellation 1, then I prefer for you to just go signature weapon, just because it's pretty much can increase your damage without any limitation. C1 is actually pretty good. You get your cat head become 2, so it indirectly kinda increase your damage, but it can only trigger like every 15 seconds. So imagine if you miss or even let the enemy move so it didn't hit, it's kinda waste. You cannot trigger again, you need to wait 15 seconds. But for the weapon, it always works, so it feels more consistent. However, if you go for C2, then this is where I find it's already better than secondary weapon, because it gives you critical damage increase by 20% though whenever you get the stack. So it's already pretty much better than signature weapon. So if I rank, is signature weapon is better than C1, but C2 is better than signature weapon. For Zhongli, should I pull for early Constellation or signature weapon? Honestly, for me, for Zhongli, I don't prefer to pull any Constellation or the signature weapon. My recommendation, even if you want to go something extra for Zhongli, is pull for Staff of Homa, which is not his signature. But if you really want, compared to signature weapon, I still want to choose C1, because C1 is still pretty much nice. The pillar become 2, so it's still pretty much nice. More damage, can cover more areas, which is pretty much nice. And for the C2, I say it's not really that great, especially we rarely use the burst itself. However, if you want to play in co-op, then this shield will enable you to be able to cover for all your friends in co-op. So maybe if you really care about co-op, then C2 can be a nice addition for you. For Neuvillette, should you pull for early Constellation or signature weapon? For me, I prefer to go for Constellation, just because especially his C1 is pretty good. It gives him persistent interruption, meaning that you don't need Zhongli or any shielder, and it can open a lot of different type of team comp if you don't want to put any shielder. So it can like negate all the problem, maybe if you don't want to dodge right can just unga bunga using Neuvillette. So another thing is that in here you can get more stack, so indirectly increase more damage. So in here C1 you get double pack more damage and also resistant interruption, which is quality of life. That's why I prefer C1 compared to weapon. Weapon is actually still pretty much nice, increase damage, but this one is just too good. You get like double in one package. And C2 also, I think it's already better than weapon because you can get increase of critical damage on charge attack and can go up to 42%. That's already actually very good. So if I rank like C1 and C2 is better than signature weapon. So yeah, that's pretty much that's it. If you ask me which one should I pull in 5.2, my verdict, I will go with Neuvillette. I think Neuvillette is just too good because he is very strong main DPS, literally one of the best. He's very independent. You don't even need a specific team. You can just put random team and it just work because he's too good. Easy to build too because it's only HP scaling, accessible for free-to-play weapon. So I think with this type of main DPS, it's very good for all type players, from casual, free-to-play, even you want to well. It makes your progression in Genshin a lot faster with him. It just, some more people say it's basically cheating code to have Neuvillette, something like that. Yeah, he is that good, so that's why I choose him. And then some of you may be still in dilemma, like should we pull for Neuvillette or just wait for Mavuika, because we know, right, Archon Quest will ending in 5.3. Usually Archon will come on the end of the Archon Quest, so maybe you're still in dilemma. And my suggestion is just because Neuvillette is second phase, that's actually good. And usually in second phase they already did live stream, so my advice is that just wait first until they announce all the live stream. You take a look all the new character in there, then maybe you kind of prefer those including Mavuika, then yeah, decide in there like which one you like more, Mavuika or the brand new character, or put Neuvillette. So yeah, in my suggestion, don't just pull on the day one, wait until they announce live stream and judge by yourself. That's pretty much it. If you like this video, feel free to hit subscribe button and like, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.